Do you ever feel stuck in the rat race? Life doesn't have to be that way if you're willing to put in the work. In Bigger Vision, Chris Garrison helps you discover the keys to abundance, freedom, and personal growth that let you live the life of your dreams. And now, here's your host, Chris Garrison.
Welcome, everybody. You've made it to the Bigger Vision podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you're at. If you're sitting in the gym, in traffic, driving down the road, whatever the case may be, I hope that your day has already started out fantastic because you made sure you started it out that way. I want to give you some food for thought today. Let's talk about moving like a millionaire. I was sitting this past weekend on Father's Day. I was sitting there with my daughter, and I couldn't help but reflect on how I wanted to be a great influence and role model for my children. I've got a 15-year-old, I've got a 13-year-old, and I've got an 18-month-old. And I had my 15 and 13-year-old when I was young, very, very early 20s, still trying to figure out my path in life. And I just don't really feel that I have been that great of a role model. Wasn't that I did anything bad to them or responded bad in life necessarily. I've always treated people well and was honest. They've definitely seen those aspects of life, but just don't feel like I've done the best in my 20s. And I was sitting there with my 18-month-old on the couch and just kind of reflecting about how she mimics every little thing. They're like little sponges. They just absorb everything that's around them. They listen and watch because they're learning constantly. And it really made me think about normal, what our normal is, and how we can change what our normal is. I began to think about how so many individuals allow the influences of negativity through news, through friends, through family members, through coworkers, and their environment is conducive to this. You can't achieve it. There's only this much that you can have. It's unrealistic to be whatever. And they just the environment influences you to that it's normal to live with restrictions. And I have, in the last few years, put myself in an environment that teaches it is normal to live without restrictions. It's normal to build your own economy. It's normal to have surplus and excess so that you can give freely, so that you can respond in life freely, so that you can have time freedom, financial freedom, that you can live the good life. I used to be in church and I remember them saying it was the good news is the good news that the Lord would bring. Well, I'm trying to say this is the good news in this life, the good life. I think you see it on the back of the Jeeps, the little tire cover on the back of Jeeps that says life is good. And the environment that I have built around myself by getting into the rooms with people that are multimillionaires, that are striving to be billionaires, that focus on keeping their family and working to keep their family tight and full of love. They work their family as much as they work their business. They focus on giving other people opportunity by building their teams up so that not only does it give other people opportunity, but it also frees them up for more time to do something else besides a task that they technically didn't even want to do. See, there is a who for every how. There is a mule for every task. We're all mules in some aspect, but what aspect, what mule do you want to be? See, somebody might love doing bookkeeping. I can't stand it. I do not like to sit in front of spreadsheets. I do not like to work numbers. I don't mind working numbers as long as it's at a high level. I like to dream. I like to increase my knowledge. I like to take risk. I like to build. I like to be able to see something that was broken, and through my efforts, it became whole. It was built, and now it's something that people desire and want. I put myself in an environment that changed my normal. because my normal is no longer go to work 8 to 5, get home and chill out, and on the weekends go party, or on the weekends go play, whatever the case is that you're in your stage of life. I don't look forward to the weekends. I look forward to production. I look forward to achievement. I look forward to building a lifestyle grander than what it currently is. I look forward to making impressions, positive impressions on other people, encouraging other people that they can chase after their dreams and achieve them, encouraging other people that money is not elusive, that we've been taught wrong, and money is waiting for us to identify it and to grab it and to lay claim on it. These are the norm in my life. And the only way that I was able to achieve this normality was to put myself around others that was their normal. See, we mimic the influences in our life. My daughter goes to Montessori school. She's 18 months old. We put her in Montessori school about 6 months ago. And we began to notice how she would come home, and after playing, she would start cleaning up her toys. And my wife said, "Look at this girl. She's so smart and so big. She's got to be learning this at school." And sure enough, they teach them 5 days a week. They play, and then they say, "Okay, let's clean up." And they go and clean up, and they put their stuff up. And we noticed these little bitty things that were positive, that we realized she was taking this away from school because it became normal for her to do this because she was doing it 5 days a week. But we also noticed how some of the kids in the school had little traits and nuances of their own. So we noticed our daughter Presley came home and she had her head tilted to the side. And just like out of the blue, she tilted her head to the side. And so we thought maybe something's wrong with her ear. And matter of fact, we took her to the pediatrician, the ear, nose, and throat doctor, just to make sure that nothing was going on. And then we come to find out that another kid would do that to be funny, would hold his head to the side. And then one day she acted like she couldn't let go of her blanket. She saw her blanket in the car ride over there. She grabbed a hold of it, didn't want to let it go. So we took her in with it. She carried it through the day, picked her up with it. She acted like she didn't want to let go. So she was having a chat. My wife was having a chat with one of the teachers, and the teacher said, "Yeah, so-and-so, that's his safety net. He never lets his blanket go." And I just began to think about how my daughter had these impressions, which she felt like was normal. And as a human being, we want to fit in with the crowd. It doesn't mean we want to fit in with every crowd, but nobody, I truly believe, nobody likes to stand alone solo and be their own individual where they're abnormal. Nobody likes to feel abnormal. We like to feel included. We like to feel a part of a tribe. And so whatever our normal is, it psychologically makes us move in that direction, and it caps us. That is why we have to constantly try to get around individuals that are doing more than us, that are thinking at a higher level than us, that are moving at a faster rate than us, so that we can grow at exponential rates, so that we can advance towards our dream as quick as possible. And the only way to do that is for you to control the influences in your life to set a new normal. Here's another way to put it. You got to change your thermostat, your internal thermostat. If you are set at 70 degrees, then you will always try to bring your thermostat to that temperature to 70 degrees. If you all of a sudden have a push towards education and taking risk and doing whatever, your internal thermostat is going to try to adjust you back down to that 70 from that 90, because that is your normal. That is where it's set. So how do you change your internal thermostat? How do you change your normal? You do massive action after massive action, or you get around others that are consistently doing more than what you're currently doing. Because you will feel left behind if you were surrounded around someone that is just killing it every single day in their action. You're going to feel left behind, and it's going to make you feel abnormal. Therefore, you will elevate yourself. You will change the thermostat and rate it at a higher temperature so that you can achieve what you see as normal at that point. It all happens up here in the brain. We got to be careful about what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we feel. All of these senses affect what our normal is. So my question to you is, what is your normal? Is your normal to make 50 to 100 grand? Or is your normal to make 100 to 200,000 a year? Take a couple of vacations, have a spouse, have some kids, maybe join the country club, go to church on Sundays, whatever it is. What is your normal? Because you can look at your life right now and the people that are around you. Jim Rohn says we are the sum of the 5 people that we hang out with. Our network is our net worth. It is one of the truest statements that I have ever been around. So let me tell you personally what I have done in my life and why my thinking is so different at this point. I've already gone to 3 events so far this year that are educational and motivational, and more than anything, very rich in relationship capital. I'm a part of 2 coaching calls every single week, 2 different types of coaching calls, different leaders and members in these coaching communities. I have spent I also have 3 upcoming events scheduled out for the rest of the year. And when I add it all up, I have spent around $75,000 for the year. By the end of the year, I will have spent around $75,000 on self-development. Does that sound extravagant to you? Does that sound like that's in excess? Because if it does, my question to you is, what are you worth? Now, let me tell you the flip side of that investment, that $75,000 in this year that I will have invested in my self-development and the time that it takes to go to these events and pushing myself out of my comfort zone to meet new people and to try to build relationships, because I understand that relationships bring opportunity. And money passes through people's hands. And the only way to get money is through relationship. My net worth will have almost 10x'd, if not over 10x'd within this year. I'm going to say that again. My net worth will have 10x'd or more by the end of this year, because my normal has risen so much higher than most people's normal. The return on investment, that $75,000 sounds like nothing when you consider the fact that I 10x my net worth this year. It's insane. Who wouldn't? What if I told you that instead of $100,000, you would have $1 million if you invested $75,000? Would you do it? Everybody listening to this would do it. Who wouldn't? You would be insane not to invest $75,000 to have $1 million in your pocket. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But this is what happens when you raise your normal and your internal thermostat. We've got to make sure that we are in the rooms with the people that are growing. We've got to make sure that we're listening to the individuals that are currently active and have been in the past and are planning on going in the future, doing bigger and better things. We've got to make sure that we're meeting and socializing with the individuals that care to do more in life, that care to live in abundance, that care to make an impression on others in a positive way, that have a giving heart, that have a grateful attitude, that have a desire to grow and not stay stagnant. These are the individuals that you must be around because you need a better normal. Your normal has to be more than what the average ordinary person's normal is. Otherwise, you will be an average ordinary person. And for me, I cannot be an average ordinary person because I am not satisfied anymore. I've already had a taste of the water. I've had a taste of the better, the good life, and I can't go back. I have to keep going forward because at this point, I realize that there is no ceiling on what I can do. There is only my actions that stop me from becoming better and greater. And the more abundance that I obtain, the more influence that I have, the more lives I can change. mine, my family's, those people that look and follow and watch me. You never know who's watching. Change your influences. What are you listening to every day? Who are you talking to? What are you watching? You can do your job around a bunch of negative Nancys and Karens. If you're Karen and Nancy, I'm sorry. Your parents named you that. But that's just the saying of a bunch of negativity. You can still go to work and do your thing and keep positive influences coming in. What are you listening to first thing in the morning? When you wake up, what are you saying out of your mouth? What are you thinking? When you're driving to work, what are you listening to? When you're sitting at work, what are you allowing to come into your ear? A lot of places will allow you to have headphones. Sometimes you just need inspirational stuff. Let's say you can't have headphones because maybe you're picking up and answering the phone all day long. So you need to be taking those moments in between phone calls and in between communications with your coworkers and make sure you're reading inspirational quotes. Set them on your desk. Whatever it is, change your environment, because when you change your environment, you will change. You will change for the better. And what you thought was dreams become reality. And if you're in a toxic relationship or if you're in a toxic work environment, find another one. There's employers all over the place looking for great people that want to grow, that are willing to come to work and put their best effort forth. Those individuals that want to be revenue drivers that say, I want to help you grow this because I know if I help you grow this, I am more valuable to you. Let's change our influences. Let's change our normal. Let's elevate our internal thermostat so that we begin to see changes in our life. I am a walking testimony of what correct influences in your life do for you. In my 20s, I was broke, walked around with an EBT card, and constantly had a handout for people to help me because I was around the wrong influences and my normal was the wrong normal. When I turned 30, I began to pump in the correct influences and I started listening to multimillionaires that were out there on social media, active currently in what they were teaching, and they were giving away their teachings. They were giving away their information because this is the legacy they wanted to leave behind. And then I began to pay to get in the room so that I could create relationships with other individuals that are desiring and striving to grow their net worth, their knowledge, their giving muscle, their health, and their relationships. And my normal changed. Therefore, I saw my finances change. Therefore, I saw my confidence change. My relationships changed. My health changed. All those things changed because the environment that I sat in, and it became normal to me. And I wanted to fit in because that was a great normal to fit into. But what do I do when I got to that elevation? I began to seek out people that were even further than that. I'm telling you, on a weekly basis, 2 coaching calls per week, I am surrounded by multi-millionaires on a Zoom and a phone call because I want to hear how they think. I want to know how they talk and what they say. I want to hear how they respond and what they feel about certain situations. You know, when recession gets talked about in these groups, there's not any fear that comes across. In these groups that I hang out with, when people talk about recession, there is zero fear because they understand they are in the right rooms to get the right information and they have the right relationships to be able to link arms and weather any storm. They have put the action in already to build a foundation so that they can weather any storm. These are the rooms you want to be in. These are the rooms you're supposed to be in. Stop thinking you don't deserve to be in these rooms. Stop thinking you will be judged by not being the greatest or the smartest when you get in these rooms. You want to be the dumbest in the room. You want to be the weakest in the room because you will find the quickest and highest elevation when you are at the lowest point in a room. When you are that weak link, you will grow the fastest because it's just the way velocity of relationship works. I hope you receive something of this today. I hope you take away knowing that you've got to change your normal. I don't care at what level you're at. You need to elevate it. You need to constantly be elevating it because there is no growth in your comfort zone. When you get uncomfortable and you begin to feel resistance, you need to lean into it and know that growth is coming and stay consistent with your actions. Let's live in success. And until next time, let's grow together. Check out the Facebook group, Bigger Vision Facebook group, and subscribe to the podcast. If you haven't already subscribed, leave me a 5-star review and say something in that 5-star review so that it will boost me up the algorithm and others like yourself that are seeking to better themselves can grab a hold of this information. See you later.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.